All right. Hey, what's up, y'all? Thank you for tuning in to the Water Bear podcast. So we are on episode 9. So this is the next to the last episode of the season. So we're almost at the season finale. And of course, tonight we are talking about Virgo sign. So before we get into that, if you've not already done so, make sure you go ahead and join the Drip family. So in other words, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you don't mind, please, and hit that notification bell so that you'll be able to get notified of any content that I post on the channel. Also, shout out to all of the on the go listeners. You can also catch this podcast on audio if you're not able to watch the video broadcast. You can catch it on iHeartRadio, Amazon, Audible, pretty much any of your streaming services, you can check it out on. And again, of course, you can check out the show, Catch the Drip, every Thursday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And if you're not already doing so, make sure you follow me on Instagram at Poetic. That's PEAUXETIC, or on TikTok. Don't know how long we're going to have that. But for now, at least, you can follow me on there at PEAUXETIC with the number 7 at the end. And also, make sure you follow my guest tonight, Desmond Blair. You can follow him on IG at D_Blair. Last name spelled BLAIR. So make sure y'all spell that correctly. And then on Facebook at Desmond Blair. So really excited to have Desmond on this show tonight. I have known him, I can't believe it. It's been 21 years this year. I feel like I understand when people say, "Oh, I'm showing my age now," because to know somebody for 21 years, you got to be of a certain age. So he has been an amazing friend, amazing brother. So I was so glad when he said yes to join me on the podcast tonight. I don't take that for granted. Whenever I ask anybody, it's like, if they can't do it or don't want to do it, some people might not be into zodiac, whatever the case is. I'm always appreciative when anybody says yes. So we're going to get into all the things that he does, and of course, talk about Virgo. He is an artist, an amazing artist. I'm sure that you've probably seen his work online or even on news stations, news coverage, anything like that. So he's going to be telling us more about his art and what he has going on that front. But before I bring him out, I always kick off the show, of course, you all know, with a famous Aquarius and then a famous sign of the guest. So a famous Aquarius is Elijah Wood, and a famous Virgo. And actually, Des and I talked about this before the show. So I've already mentioned Michael Jackson. I feel like him and Beyonce are the two that most Virgos claim. I don't blame y'all, because hey, with Aquarius, I claim Michael Jordan and Oprah real quick. But so I get it. But another person I did not know until today that is a Virgo is Cat Williams. So So yes, Cat Williams is a Virgo. If y'all did not know that. And on that note, I'm gonna go ahead and bring in another famous Virgo, my brother, Desmond Blair. Hey.
How you doing?
I'm good. How about you? Did you know that? Did you know that Cat Williams was a Virgo?
No, I did not.
I didn't
And
know.
I'm not gonna promise you no Cat Williams interview.
You said you're not gonna do it.
I'm not gonna promise you that. But I did not know that.
Yeah, I didn't know until today either. I was actually, and I'll bring it up a little bit later on in the show. But there's something that he said that I thought was really profound, not crazy like some of the stuff he has been saying. So
Yeah.
I definitely wanted to get your opinion on it. And when I saw the clip, I was like, let me just look up and see when his birthday was, and I was like, September 2nd. What?
Yeah.
So yeah, he is a Virgo.
I did not know
what's
that.
up, Keith?
Oh Lord.
Thanks for checking out the show, Keith. So Keith was also on this season as well. My Aquarius brother, he was on earlier in the season, actually was episode 2. So
Yeah.
make sure y'all can see that if you haven't seen it already. He said, "My guys, what's up?" All right. So there's well, first of all, again, thank you for being on the show. And if you don't mind sharing with the viewers and the listeners when your birthday is, and then any other introductory things or things you want the viewers and the listeners to know.
Okay. So my birthday is August the 30th. Actually,
Okay.
one day, I believe, after Michael Jackson. So
Yes.
that's part of the reason he's my go-to. But also my other favorite actor, Paul Walker, he's Virgo too. From
Oh,
Fast and the
really?
Furious. Yeah.
Yeah, I never knew that. Really?
Yeah. So he's
Hey.
Virgo too, but September.
Okay, September. Yeah,
So
y'all got a lot of ludicrous.
yeah,
There's a lot. Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, August the 30th, and
Okay.
just a little bit about myself. I'm from Dallas, born and raised. Been an artist long as I can remember. Went to school at UTD with my brother Los.
Hey. So,
So
yes.
both of us are UTD alums. I also have a background in technology. Most people don't know that too, but over 13 years now, working in tech. So
Okay. Wow.
I
So,
do that, do my artwork, and yeah.
and project management too, right?
hmm So I've
Yeah.
been a project manager now for about 13 years.
That
So
is, I feel like it's funny. I was thinking about that when I was putting the show together because I was like, that is the perfect Virgo job, project manager. I feel like because in my head,
yeah,
I feel like but yeah, no, I feel like that is totally I feel like you're really in your element doing that job.
I
Project
think it makes sense because it's detail oriented, right?
management. Hmm.
And that's, I guess that's what we're known for is paying attention to the details and just I don't know, it's a good mix with my art brain because you kind of got to see the bigger picture, but then pull back and like look at all the little pieces or trains that need to come into the station to make something work. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, you may be right. I didn't even think about it that way. You might be
Yeah, I
right.
think that's a perfect match for a Virgo for a
Yeah.
profession.
Yeah.
That's what's up. Okay. Okay. So you mentioned this the difference between, or you mentioned that not the difference between, but Paul Walker being a September Virgo. So I had to ask you this: do you think there's a difference between August and September Virgos?
Okay. Yeah. Well,
Okay.
this is my opinion. These are my
Hey,
opinions. You
that's
may get a
okay.
September Virgo on here. They may say something different, but from what I've been told, we're a little different because one of my other friends is an August Virgo too. And so
Hmm.
I think it's because we right there with the Leo, we're a little more fiery, or can be a little bit more fiery with our personality or more outgoing. So
I
not
can agree with that.
not as reserved, but still like an extroverted introvert maybe. So
Hmm. Hmm.
love
Yeah.
people, but I gotta recharge by myself.
Right, right. Okay. And that's
Yeah.
it's funny you say that because I consider myself to be the same way. Like if I'm in public, people may mistake me for being an extrovert, but I'm really an introvert, or as you say, extroverted introvert. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm totally with you on that.
Yeah.
Okay. So you say they're more fire. Any other differences?
Um, Probably I would say I would argue that's the main one. That's the main one. I think other thing too, and this may just be personally, but I don't we get a bad rap, I think, for like keeping notes and like bringing up like every single thing.
Uh-oh. Wait, like bringing up stuff from the past, or what do you mean?
Yeah, like
Holding
this
grudges.
happened on this date and this time. Not, I won't even say he's holding a grudge. We just don't forget things, right? And so by the time we have to present our case, it's like we have a detailed PowerPoint presentation and records and timestamps and all of this of, you know, why we are approaching you this way. But I think it's me, I'm an August Virgo. I'll keep the notes, but a lot of times I'm like, all right,
Yeah. Yeah. You
that
know,
may I may
it's
be coming from an evolved place, but now, you
right.
know, just being older, I'm just kind of like, okay, I know you lying, but all right.
I got you. Yeah, and that's funny. That's why I posted that reel this week, because that is one of the most entertaining things about a Virgo. I've witnessed it with
Yeah.
several Virgos. Like, y'all will sit through a conversation and y'all will know that the person is lying.
Mhm.
And sometimes I just be sitting there looking like, okay, how long we gonna let this lie? But y'all have the person believe that you believe the lie, which you really know, what the truth is. I think that's actually a skill that a lot
It,
of people don't have.
I think it's that curiosity thing because sometimes you just want to, it's like you just want to see how far people are
Mhm.
going to take it. When it's
Yeah,
like, you can just tell the truth.
right.
I'm not going to freak out either way. Or like, I, I would actually respect you more, but it's like, okay, if that's what you want to do. I'm just going to take my notes. I know what's
Mhm.
going on right now, but go ahead. And
Right,
I mean, I think as you get older too, you just learn some things aren't even, it's not even worth it.
right. That's
So,
true. And I feel like too, with the differences between the August and the September Virgos, it's weird. So I feel like the August Virgos are more outgoing,
mhm.
but I also feel like the August Virgos are slower to anger,
Yeah,
because the September ones, when they get, I mean,
yeah,
let me say this as a whole, I don't think Virgo is quick to anger as a whole. But I will say the September Virgo level of festivity is
yeah,
probably a little bit lower than the August Virgo. I feel like the August Virgos are able to take more without reacting. I don't know.
yeah. And I think it's just because what you prioritize, right? Like,
Mhm.
it's like I know, like we just talked about, I know somebody is like giving me the runaround or whatever, but it's just again, you evaluate, is this really important right now? And if I call the person on this, is it gonna change their behavior? And that's where you
Mhm.
that sounded really what we talking about right now.
Hey,
It's
no, I'm
like
with you though.
it's like
I'm with you.
you play the chess game like 3 steps ahead, and it's like if I say something, is this gonna cause this person to reflect, or are they just gonna double down? And if it's gonna cause them to just double down, it's like okay, I'm just gonna let it ride. But like I think you are right because it's just you just have a level of patience, but it's dictated on looking at what's more, thinking about what's more important at the time.
Mhm.
And I think just as I've gotten older, I've gotten better about that. Um, to where some people probably just assume I'm Zen all the time. But it's just like, no, I just think about, what's important, what am I focused on, right?
Mhm.
And if it's unrelated to the things that I'm trying to do or goals I've set for myself, it's just like, okay, I'm gonna let you have it. We gonna smile. I give you a nice word. You be blessed, and I hope that work out for you.
Yeah, if somebody from the South tell you be blessed, it's it might not
Yeah.
always have the nicest connotation behind it. But yeah, no, I no, I'm with
Yeah.
you. And so I had to ask you then, I know you mentioned something
Mhm.
about most people thinking that you are in this Zen state all the time. So one thing that I've heard about Virgos, or that I've read uh, actually quite a few times, is that Virgos um, are really about appearances or saving face. So do you, and really to be honest, I'm kind of torn on that because I know some Virgos where I could say, yeah, that could be true, but then I know some where it's not. And then I also feel like that could just be a people thing. But do
Yeah.
you think that that's something that's really tied to Virgos?
No, I think it's more in general, just like a people thing or whatever.
Mhm.
Now I will say when I was younger, I think I worried about that a lot, but just being older now again, it's like what's important. And like something I realized actually when we were in school together, um, just you always have to evaluate what you have to lose, right?
Mm.
And
Mhm.
if somebody or something or a situation is going to take you out of where you're trying to go, then it's just like, all right, I'll let you make it. Now, that does not mean that we don't get upset. But,
Mhm.
when we do, at least, I go to the gym, I go run,
Right.
and it's funny because it's like, um, I think over time, it's going to sound really Virgo-ish too. When I get mad, I go do stuff. Like, I go do productive things.
But you
Like,
know what? That's hey, in that
if you
regard, I
make
think
me mad,
everybody should be more Virgo.
I'll scrub floors. Like, I'll get mad and clean. Probably
Right.
don't
So
make
so
no
what does
sense.
that do for you when you do that? What is it? And when I asked that question, I'm not knocking it. I think it's
Yeah.
actually something more people should adapt because, like you said, you're doing something that's productive and you're uh, doing something that's not going to get you in trouble. So, like, if you do decide to clean the floor or something like that, what is it a innate thing that drives you to do that, or is it just like, oh, let me do something productive to not get too mad?
No, it's just like you got that energy, and it's like you have two choices. Like you can be constructive with it or destructive. And it's just like, no, I'm gonna go do something that's gonna make me better.
Okay. Okay.
And it's
Hey,
like that's what you always, at least me, that's what I always choose. Is like, no, I'm gonna go work out, I'm gonna go paint, I'm gonna go clean, I'm gonna go wash my car. And I bring up the cleaning thing because I would like scrub like for
Virgos are
hours.
clean.
Yeah, I would like, yeah.
You know,
So,
I,
but it's like when you get done, it's like ooh, I'm not stressed or like irritated or whatever anymore.
like you work. Right. Right.
Hmm.
I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh I can totally see that with Virgos, like the just cleanliness as a whole. Um, I was looking through, I think it was TikTok the other day, and then somebody was showing something like a hoarder's video. And I don't know, my mind just works crazy sometimes because I was like, I wonder if you could pull all the signs that are hoarders, because I bet you Virgo would probably be either not on the list at all, or y'all would be real low down on the list. Because I don't think I ever met a Virgo that kept a nasty house.
Hmm. I couldn't like I just what this is what I do since I'm an artist. I give myself one space that can be like controlled chaos. It may be stuff
Mm,
everywhere, but I know what's what. I know where my paints are. I know, it just that's one space, but everything else, you know, try to keep it in line and keep it clean, keep it tidy. Um, Now we saw. I think that was that Keith. Can I call him out? I'm not as OCD as him.
oh,
Is
uh-oh.
that is that a is that an
Yeah, I've
Aquarius
heard that
thing?
Keith is. Now, you know what? Now, I don't know. Now, Keith, that might be more of an environmental thing because I can tell you, I'm clean and I'm
Yeah.
neat. But if I know I ain't gonna have no company for a few days, I mean, I might leave them clothes on the couch for a
I
day
see
or
now.
two.
It's gonna
I
drive
mean,
me crazy.
now after 2 days, but to your point,
Yeah.
because I primarily work at home,
Hmm.
that space has to be neat because it does something to my mind if it's just like out of whack.
Yeah.
Um, but oh, it keeps laughing. But yeah, yeah. it doesn't have to be totally neat if it's like out of sight, if I'm not really like looking at it. Like
Yeah,
my closet is not neat. I mean, it's just not. It's not.
my sweaters on one side, polos and t-shirts in one space, and suits in another spot. Like, yeah.
See, now I will say as far
Now
as the stuff is
I'm not extremely like everything has to be put this way, or I
okay,
do
okay.
like clean
Some order.
countertops, clean. I got one sweater draped over the back of my couch right
Just
now. If
that
it's
one.
three or four, then we got a problem.
That's a problem. Okay.
So,
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. That's a good thing.
yeah.
That's okay. So now, so I know we talked about a few Virgo traits.
Mhm.
So this is something I've been asking everybody this season. So what's the one thing that when people hear Virgo that you think they might run from?
You probably think we uptight.
Really?
Because you know
Okay.
that reputation, I guess, for being perfectionist,
Hmm.
you know. But to me, I think that's more of I'm more critical of myself than I am other people. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Because
Yeah,
even if
I've never
I
seen you be critical of somebody else.
if I do like, I may have my nits to pick, but I'm more of the like, I can keep those to myself. But
Right.
I'm more critical of myself. So I think like that reputation for us being perfectionists, it may be an internal thing, but it's not necessarily that we expect everyone around us to be perfect. So I think because of that, people probably can assume that you're like, uptight or whatever.
Mm. Okay.
So,
Okay. So, okay, so you bring up a good point. Okay, so you said you don't expect other people around you to be a perfectionist like you are. But when it
mhm,
comes to relationships, and I'm just going off of what I've read, so I'm just
mhm,
saying what I think. But the Virgo men specifically, one common thing that I see that Virgo men kind of get a bad rap for is that they have this checklist when it comes to relationships, and the standards are just so high that it's gonna be hard for whoever she is to meet that standard. So would you say that? Do you think that although you don't put perfection on others, do you think you have a high standard list or high checklist
that was
relationship?
probably I'm not even gonna sit up here and lie. That was worse when I was younger. Like,
Really?
yeah, when we were in college, because it was just like, I'd rather be single and minding
Then
my
deal with
business.
right,
Yeah,
right.
than but I think just over time, yeah, when you evolve, right?
Hmm.
Again, just learning to give grace because you have to have grace yourself, right?
Right.
And so, but I don't know. I'm gonna throw them under the bus because they're not here. I'm gonna say that's a September Virgo thing because I've never been, the type to, yeah, to
Have a
demand
whole list.
perfection. Yeah, yeah, I
Okay.
don't. And then too, it's not even just having a list. I think at the core is just you look for certain qualities, like personality qualities, you know what I'm saying, or foundational qualities. At least that's what I think about now. Like to me, that's like more important, like who the person is, right?
Hmm.
And so, but yeah, nah, the checklist thing will always like get you in trouble.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's good to have standards,
Yeah,
but I agree.
yeah,
If you have a checklist that can't be broken or you can't bend certain things on the list,
yeah.
then that's not good because you might miss out on somebody that's like, really dope because you had this major checklist.
Yeah, you squeeze the toothpaste in the middle, I squeeze it from the bottom, like, and
Right.
that's on.
As long as you don't get it on the counter, I'm good.
Now, I will say, if somebody's bathroom is not
Ooh.
clean, bathroom.
Yeah.
I got this thing with bathroom countertops. It's probably the only thing that I have.
Like sticky bathroom countertops and
No, I
stuff, or
just I
dirty.
like toothbrush here, toothpaste here, soap here. Very like not too much on top of the countertop.
Okay, I can understand that. Like,
Like
yeah. Uh-huh.
that's probably like one of the only petty checklist things I have because I'm gonna look any of your countertops. So that's gonna stress me out
Yeah.
because I'm
Dirty
on.
mirrors. Keith said, yes, yes. And I'm gonna say this real quick, and then I'm gonna get back on track. So I just a little quick tangent. I can't stand to see people post pictures and they got it's a dirty mirror, but I'm like, you didn't see this mirror was dirty before you took the picture. Now, I will admit I had taken pictures in front of mirrors before. Now, before I posted that picture,
Mhm.
it might be another version where the mirror was a little dirty. So I might have to, I splash some water on it. So I'll clean it off. But the one that I posted that everybody see, no, it's that mirror's gonna be clean. Sorry, I just okay, Keith.
But yeah,
Yes,
no,
yes,
the kitchen. I mean, the bathroom countertop thing. That just I got that from growing up in the house with my mom and my grandma because like they, toothbrush, face towel, soap.
yeah,
Everything else went under the
under the
sink.
cabinet.
You got you can organize it however you want to and all of that. But yeah, I would say that's probably I do that when I go to people's houses. Like if I go to your house and your bathroom countertops like that, it's gonna stress me out.
Even if the house is clean.
Even if the house is clean, it's gonna stress me out.
Okay, that's funny. Yeah, but hey, I can't say I blame you. Yeah, not at all. Oh, and Tylen says the fact that they have the audacity to make it the caption instead of cleaning it. Yes, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And so you do have certain, and I think everybody has that, regardless of your sign. I think everybody has little things that you really want it to be a certain way. Um, and maybe that is something that you're not willing to change on your checklist. And another thing, and again, I don't really think this is true with all Virgos. But another thing that I've read about the men is that they're hard to get to commit. Um,
Mhm.
and what I read, they didn't say it in a way that like you in the streets, that
Yeah.
not in that way. But it was hard to commit from the standpoint of, okay, you have certain goals or things that you want. I mean, like for you, you just hearing all the things that you have going on, I get tired because I'm like, I don't see how you have all this going on and being a father, and you just have, and you make it look like it's really easy.
Mhm.
Um, and so I've heard more of that where it's kind of like, hey, this is my set life, and I might not be in a space right now to fully commit to a relationship because I have all these things going on.
Yeah. I think that I would say is like accurate because it's like, you have a tendency to prioritize purpose. Um,
Hmm.
I think I'm more so that way now since my mom passed or whatever, because it's like
Okay.
there's no backup.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't no cavalry coming. So it's like I
Right.
have to do the things that I need to want to be able to take care of myself, so I can take care and handle my responsibilities. And so there is a tendency, I think, to prioritize that and focus more on that, and then just being more purpose driven. So that makes it difficult with like meeting people because even going back to when we were in undergrad, it's like if I got to choose between you and passing my classes, I'm gonna pass my classes
Right. Hey,
so I can
that was
graduate.
my mindset too. Right. Right. because you might not be here next week.
Right. So I'm like, I need to make sure that I graduate
Right,
because, I had scholarships, and just like other things, I was just like, miss it.
right.
Um, but I don't know. It's difficult. The other thing too, I will say, I give you credit for it because I think it's accurate, but people misconstrue it. Is I don't have a problem being patient, and I know we live in a time and in a world where
Mhm.
it's notifications on your phone and the
Yeah,
newest thing is going viral like every 5 minutes, and it's only gotten progressively faster, right? And
right.
so I just don't have a problem being patient and just actually getting to know somebody. Um,
Mm,
and it's, whether it be relationally, friends, whatever, I just don't have a problem being patient. And so that may make people feel like it's harder to really get to know us. It's just like, I'm not in a rush, you know,
mhm.
because the thing is, everybody is rushing these things, but
Yes.
that's how you truly build bonds. You have to really like holistically get to know somebody. You have to be their friend. You have to understand them. You have to take your time. And just, I've never been the type to be in a rush. It's like you have your purpose, you have your things that you're working on. I'm pursuing those, but it's like, relationally, no matter the type of relationship, even if it's friendships or whatever, mentor, whatever, it's like you have to take time with those things, just like you have to take time and devote time and effort to your purpose or your calling. So
Mhm.
that, for people who are just, they want to, my grandma used to call it, fair weather friends, or
Oh, yes.
people that want to like jump in and jump out, that never works with me because it's like, well, no, I'm not going to give you I'm going to take my time and get to know you,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah, I agree. And you bring up a good point about the social media and how everything is going viral so quickly. And I think it kind of starts to trickle over into a lot of people's personal lives too, because I feel like this whole idea of rushing into things wasn't as big when we were in college. Now, granted, we were younger,
Yeah.
and I do understand too. Once you hit your 30s, um, everybody's thinking like we're on a clock. Like,
Oh
I got to
man.
have this by this time, this by this. And to me, I at this point, I've just I don't subscribe to the clock idea because I know, and that's how you have broken
Yeah.
clocks down the line because you're trying to hurry up and get on this timeline. So
Yeah.
it's I think people expect relationships to go quickly because everything around them, everything else is going so quickly. So it's like, why not this part
Yes.
go quickly too?
It's happening fast. And I just, I don't know. It's better to take your time, you know.
Hmm.
And
I agree.
I can't say that I've always been like that, but you have to learn, we were younger or whatever. And so you just learn, like you say, it's different when you hit your 30s because it is that pressure to, oh, I gotta, you feel that way. And it's just like, wait a minute, slow down.
Hmm.
Because everything you do can have like lifelong implications and you got to really like think about those. And so
Right.
it's like patience.
Yes. Yeah.
And
Patience.
that can be off-putting, I think, to some people because it's like, well, it don't seem like you have a motive. And it's like, don't. My only
Right.
motive is to
Right.
get to
Yeah.
really like know who you are or try to understand you. And I do that
Hmm.
with people in general. That's how I am just with everybody. It's like there is no motive because it's like, what my motives are. I want to get better as an artist.
Mm-hmm.
I want to eventually get to the point to where I can raise money for programs that help people and kids specifically with limb differences. I don't know if that's a scholarship program or mentorship program, but those are my motives, like trying to do the
Right.
things that will get me to that point. And so it's like when it comes to, relationally, it's just like there is no motive because
Hmm.
I'm just getting to know you.
Right. And people don't know how to handle that. I don't think because we're so used to dealing with people that oftentimes they do have motives.
Hmm.
And so
Yeah.
when you run across somebody who doesn't have that, then it's like, it's got to be something wrong here. Like, because there's nothing that you want from me, or yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. I can totally see that. Okay,
Yeah.
well, yeah, I definitely want us to get into the personal things that you have going on too. Um,
Okay.
but before we get into that, I do have another question, a
Okay.
zodiac related question that I want to ask you. I've been asking everyone this season. So, if you had to pick one, which zodiac sign would you say is your ride or die?
Mm, I'm not just gonna pick one. I'm trying to think of a
Okay.
pattern that I've noticed. Try not to get emotional because I know which one it is.
Okay.
I think it's Libra.
Okay. I know. Okay. I understand why you say the emotional part. I get it.
Well, yeah, because yeah, I think it's Libra because it's just even going back. My grandmother was a Libra,
Oh,
and she
really?
was my yeah. And when I tell you that was like we were two peas in a pod, growing up. But it's just like if I think
Mhm.
about it, all of my friends that have been Libras, all the ones I've had like in my life, they've been like kind of like the type of people that they just always had your back.
Mhm.
So every
Mhm.
Libra I can think of, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I can see that.
But
Yeah.
now I don't know if that is a thing or whatever, but it's just like every Libra that I've come across or whatever, we end up being like we just end up being real cool. And it's those type of friendships or whatever, where it's like you don't even really have to explain stuff to each other.
You just know
Yeah.
it's just there. I, I think that and I noticed kind of a trend with this when I ask this question with everybody. It seems like most people's ride or die is a sign that's not of their element. So how we have
Interesting.
the four elements of the zodiac. So you have water, earth, air, and fire. It's rare that I've heard people say another. So like for you, for instance, you're earth sign. So
Mhm.
I would have been kind of surprised had you said another earth sign would be your ride or die. Then Libra being an air sign makes sense. And then to
Yeah.
me too, I think Libras and Virgos complement each other pretty well because a Libra is, and I'm just going off stereotypes. I'm not saying because
Yeah.
all Libras aren't the same, but sometimes can be kind of indecisive.
Hmm.
Uh, Maybe they might want to do something next minute, and the next day they're like, no, I don't want to do that. Whereas Virgo, I feel like is more grounded, and I feel like when y'all make a decision, it's kind of set. And I think, and me as a fellow air sign too, um, I can appreciate that because sometimes you kind of need that. You need that person
They're
that's
gonna
gonna say,
tip
yeah.
you on the right.
I need, yeah, tip me the right way here. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
Nah.
and I think vice versa for Virgo, I can see how Libra compliments y'all too because a Libra is not so rigid in their thinking,
Hmm.
and it may cause you to kind of bend a little bit where maybe it might be some good areas to be in. So I can totally see that.
No, I think with the way you said it is actually true. Because if I think about every Libra I know, I'm trying to get to point A, point B. And that's what I see. Point A, point B.
Mhm.
And you get locked into that, but then they kind of like, well, did you think about it this way? Or did you think about it that
Yeah.
way? Or did you and it's like, all right, different ways to
Okay.
get to point B, you
Right.
know.
Right.
It's not just a straight line all the time.
Right.
But
That's
yeah,
true.
but no, I
That's what's
got
up.
it's been a few of them throughout my life. Do I get a backup one? I know.
Yeah. Yeah. If you got more than one, that's cool. Yeah.
Probably Taurus.
Mm, okay. So that's interesting because Taurus is an earth sign. But
Mhm.
you know what's crazy
I
about
got some
that?
Taurus friends. They say what I be thinking.
Yeah, I was just about to say
It's
that.
like I think it, but I'm like, I don't need to say
And the
that.
Taurus just, yeah, they come out and say, yeah,
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 they'll say,
I can see that.
yeah,
Yeah, Taurus is gonna be blunt. They're gonna tell pretty much whatever's on their mind. I feel like.
yeah, yeah. So
Okay, okay, so it would be Libra and Taurus. Okay,
yeah,
that's what's up. And Tylen says for his
yeah.
Capricorn, so he's a
Capricorn.
Gemini. So again, that I guess cross element type relationship, air sign there, and I think Capricorn, if I'm not mistaken, is an
Yeah,
earth sign too.
yeah,
And he says nothing like those grandmothers. That is so true.
yeah. Nah,
Yes.
she's my first. She's my first Libra, and I tell you what, man, used to help me cook up all kind of plots.
not helping you cook them up.
Yeah. And she used to hustle me for my Halloween candy.
Oh,
Like,
wait, so
yeah, we
she
used.
would have you get it and then she would take it
I
from you?
Yeah, no, I bring it home from school, and she
Uh-huh.
had this. It wasn't spades. It was another card game, and I think she was just making up the rules.
Was it Go Fish?
No, it
It
was
wasn't.
some other game, but we
Uh,
like put all the candy in the middle, and if she won, she just
she get the candy. Hey, see, she was smart.
yeah,
I would her. Give me the candy.
you're right.
That's what's up. And Tyler says, I was tight with mine as well. We were both mischievous.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's true. Grandmothers, they'll help you get away with some stuff for sure.
yeah.
Yeah. And so, yeah, so the reason why I brought up, and this is kind of leading into the more the personal side and then like your art and
Mhm,
things like that. The reason why I brought up Cat Williams for the famous Virgo, because he said a quote recently that I thought was so cool, and I had never heard anybody say it like this. And you may have seen it because he said it when he was on the Sherry Shepherd's show, and she
okay.
was talking about how he was, or he is rather, so generous to
Hmm.
people, which is I feel like that's kind of a Virgo trait too. I feel like most Virgos that I know, they're very giving, like they don't
Hmm.
mind giving of themselves, their time, whatever it is. And so he said that basically he always likes to make deposits so that every time he needs a withdrawal or he's able to, take a withdrawal, he can do that. And I thought that was so cool. And so I know you're a father. So
Hmm.
with that in mind, what deposits do you want to leave for them to take as they get older?
Uh, I think first and foremost, just one being humble.
Mm,
Being
okay.
humble because I've always been in a mindset that it doesn't matter who you meet in life, you can learn something from them. And
Hmm.
so again, just the way I approach people, it's like I may be hard on myself, but I have a tendency to give other people grace because one, patience, right? Going back to that, you don't know their backstory, you don't know what they went through, you don't know what they've experienced, and you don't know what you can learn from them.
Hmm.
So I think first and foremost, just always teaching them to have that humility to be open to learn, not only from books, but from other people as well, by the way that they live their life. And that may be good and it may be bad, but you can learn something from both, or things you agree with and things you don't agree with. You still have an opportunity to learn something to add to your library, to make you more whole as a person. Um,
Right.
and then the other thing too, I think is service. Um, this is crazy. And it's just like a personal thing that I committed to doing a long time ago. It's funny because like for every one thing somebody sees me do, I've done like 5 or 10 things nobody knows about. You
Mm.
know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
whether it's making a donation to a charity, volunteering for something, mentoring somewhere, whatever. Like it's just like for every one thing, some like I may post about this, but I've been to like 10 other places, you know, and I do it because it's just that willingness to serve, and again, it's being humble because I
Right.
think through that, you know, it allows you to continue to learn, grow, and even when you go mentor people or go, I go give talks and stuff like that. I try to make it more of a conversation because I still have to learn stuff too. And whether it's a person that's older than you or younger than you, they have different perspectives. And
Right.
so just humility, service, um, and then just being yourself. And I think that goes back to me. So me being born without hands, I had to learn at a young age, and it was something my mom taught me. It was just like she was just very adamant about, you know, I used to be ashamed of the way I looked and the way I was born, um, because you get used to being around your family, but every time you go somewhere new, you can feel people staring at you or whispering or pointing, and they still do it now. Even at my age now, it still happens. Um, and the only thing that I will say I got to rub with is when kids do it and their parents discourage them from being willing to come up and ask the question, right? Because they may never see somebody with a limb difference
Right.
again. And it's like you deny them the opportunity to learn in that moment to say, hey, yeah, there are
Mhm.
people that are made different. That doesn't mean that they're any less than. But no, just like teaching my kids to like be themselves. Because my mom taught me that. Um, I'll tell you when it happened. I was trying out for my first soccer team. I was about like 6 years old. And while I'm trying out for the soccer team, I'm running with my hands in my pockets. And
Oh, why did you run?
after about 10 minutes of this, my mom kind of she's like, what are you doing? And I was like, well, I don't want the other kids to point, laugh, or whatever, or, have things to say about me. I just, sometimes you're not in the mood. It's
Right.
just
Right.
like, I just want to play soccer. I'm not in the mood to deal with that today,
Right.
you know? But something she said kind of stuck with me. And it was just like, you're making it more obvious that you don't have hands by trying to run with your hands in your pocket. And I was like,
Mm.
okay. And then she was like, can you run as fast as you can? Would while you doing that? And I was like, no. And then she was like, then stop.
Mm.
Go show them what you can do. Don't worry about how you were born because people are either going to love you the way they are or they won't. And if they won't, or if they don't, that's okay too. But what you'll find and what I found, just in my life is that you will attract the friends and have the friends and the people and community around you that you're supposed to have,
Right.
and people will accept you for how you are. So, just teaching them to, always be yourself. Yeah, people are going to have jokes. Yeah, people are going to criticize. People are going to have things to say. But as long as your heart is in the right place, you know, you lead with humility, have a willingness to serve others, and you give people grace, just be yourself. And
Right.
those are my lessons I hope to impart.
That's what's up. Hey, those are great lessons. He said 100. Yeah, I totally agree with that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. That's dope.
Yeah.
Um, and so I know. Okay, so you have the portrait behind you that we
Hmm.
see. Um, and I know you've done a lot of portraits over the
Hmm.
years. At this point, do you ever kind of feel like, okay, I'm tired of doing portraits, or do you have somebody? Is there somebody that you say, okay, this is my dream portrait, maybe that you haven't done yet, that you would like to do?
Dream portrait. I gotta think about that for a minute. But I don't know if it's a portrait or necessarily somebody I want to own one of my paintings one day.
Oh, okay. Well, okay, it could be both or that too. Either one.
I'm gonna say Barack and Michelle off top. I get something in their house, you won't be able to tell me nothing for the rest of my
Hey, that's
days.
right.
You
So it
know what
doesn't
I'm
have to
saying?
be a portrait of them, but just something that they purchased and they
Yeah,
have in their house. Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
But nah, just them as and him, he just smooth, man.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah,
Even
yeah,
still, he's just smooth, you know.
yeah.
Uh, but nah, I think what I'm doing right now, and I had to put the pause on. I have a tendency to like, you know, want to help this person with this project to do this thing or do this thing. And like what I really have always wanted to explore with my portraits and what I plan on doing now, the one
Mhm.
sitting behind me is the first one I've been looking to finish it. But that whole thing with body image, it's been one of the notes in my journal. Like you ought to do a series about that because I know we deal with it. We talk about, people deal with it in terms of like weight or how they, look and, you know, body positivity in that regard. But it's like, no, when you were born different, and I always thought this was interesting. When you're born different, that's a flaw that you cannot hide, right?
Mm.
They have prosthetics, um, and they even have like those hands now that you see people have they have electronics in them, so they're robotic and stuff. They didn't have that when I was a kid. I had one of those, and it was like purely cosmetic. And after using it or trying to use it for a week, it did more to get in the way to keep me from doing things than it
Oh,
was
wow.
like putting me at ease about being different.
Right.
But you still have those questions about whether or not you'll be accepted when you go into different environments. Like, trying out for football team. Like you had Shaquem Griffin, he made it to the NFL. Um, you have those type of people in those situations, but it's just dealing with it and looking at it from different perspectives and really going back and thinking about like, okay, this is a thing that I've dealt with, but how have other people dealt with, it, and what are the different lessons you can learn from that. Um, and I want to explore that through a series of portraits because just to sum it all up, give you the Twitter version, put in a question is, am I still beautiful?
Mm.
And you got people that were born with limb differences like myself. You have people that were in accidents. You have people that have limbs removed because of diseases or health conditions and things like that. You have all of these different things or whatever. And so what I'm doing this year, my goal is to just explore that from different perspectives. And so
Mm.
that's just kind of
Hello.
what I'm working on right now because I like capturing people in moments where they're contemplative because I want people to try to like challenge themselves to what is that person thinking about? How are they feeling in that moment? But then overlay that, with this question basically. And it's like, think about that. So the next time you may be out somewhere and you see somebody that doesn't look like you or somebody that is different, just to kind of challenge them to put themselves in someone else's shoes.
Mhm.
So
Wow. I love that. That's wow. That's amazing. But yeah, I definitely would be on the lookout for that. Um, when you started being an artist,
mhm,
because I know you've been doing it now for so long,
mhm.
do you recall it just being a hobby? Because I know some people they start off, they do things just for fun, and then the more you do it, it's kind of like, oh, I'm really good at this, and then it becomes more serious. Or did you know just kind of from jump that that was something that you wanted to do?
I didn't know. It was like honestly, like I was trying to. They told my mom I wouldn't be able to attend school in regular classes unless I was able to write. And I had to figure this out before I started kindergarten, and we had to figure this out before I started kindergarten. And so my grandma came up with the idea to help me learn how to color. And
Mhm.
so, in coloring, I did it so much that I got bored because I got tired of coloring all the time. And so I started tracing pictures. And then, when I was about in the first grade, I realized I was able to just draw stuff, you know. And so at first it became kind of like a hobby that I was doing because, I like cartoons and comic books and all of that. But then as I got older, I honestly think, once I got towards the end of elementary, middle school, and even in high school, it was actually kind of like a coping mechanism for dealing with being bullied, you know,
Mm,
because you can say whatever you want to say about me, but if I go in my sketch pad, I create my own world, you know.
mhm. Right.
So then I could make up my own stories. I could make up my own,
Yeah.
and honestly, I did that. Me and Wingo,
Oh yeah.
my best friend, we used to make up cartoon characters all the time. But a lot of the bad guys or villains or whatever I would make, it would be people I knew. I would just take stuff about them and make stuff up, and just that was it became my coping mechanism. Even
Wow.
getting into other types of art because the cool part about it is, you realize you're taking those negative emotions and you're putting them into something positive, you know.
Mhm.
But art has a way of forcing you to slow down. You can't like skim it like reading through a book. You can't
Yeah.
just study for it and take a test.
Mhm.
It's like you have to slow down and do it. You know what I'm saying? And so it forces, I guess, that negative energy into a positive outlet because, you know, it's like a energy converter. And so I kept doing it through there and just, it's just something I love.
Wow. So, you mentioned about the patience or kind of the time that it takes to put in to your art, and maybe, and I'm kind of thinking maybe that's part of the reason too why you have such patience with people, because with your art, you have to have patience with that. So I'm curious, do you have a lot of paint, or was there ever a time where you had a lot of unfinished paintings? And when I say unfinished, I'm talking about like not you just put it down for a day or two or maybe even a few months, but like I'd say 6 months plus. Do you have things that are sitting there that you feel like, okay, I'm not inspired to get back to this, or maybe you just haven't had time to get back to it, or maybe you don't want to.
Nah, I got one right here that's probably about 12 years old. It's sitting in my space right now. I
12
didn't I
years?
It's about three-fourths of the way done, and it's just been that way.
Really? So why, if you don't mind sharing, why don't you? Well, have you? Let me ask this: have you been motivated to finish it, or do you have any roadblocks to finishing it?
No, I can finish it whenever I want to.
You just haven't.
Now, and it's actually a pretty large painting too. I think it's about I'm looking at it right now. That's why I'm looking out to the side. But I think it's about 4 foot. It's a 4 foot painting. Yeah. And it's sitting here and I'm about three-fourths of the way done with it. And I learned what I needed to learn from it. And I keep it so I can go back to remember how I did the thing that I was trying to do. And so like you end up keeping it for reference. But honestly, I think every art, like this is the thing, man. Social media has people so jacked up. Like when they see creatives or they see artists or they see people posting creative content, like, to people who don't do those things,
Mhm.
I can see how it's easy to think, yeah, that little 1 minute reel is really how long it took you, or it only took you like 30
Yeah, that could
minutes to
take
do that.
hours.
No, it's like hours and hours. And then there are some people I follow, you know, they do hyper realism or whatever.
Mhm.
And like to think like, man, say people will ask you to do something like that and think you'll get it done in like a week. And it's like, no, this person has spent like probably thousands of hours on one piece, you know,
Right.
and that may be the only Had to learn this from one of my favorite artists. Just kind of like doing research about him. One painting can take him 6 months, and that's being a full time artist,
Okay, not having a job and
not
not
having a
okay.
job. I got a
Right.
job, you know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yeah.
So it's like one painting can take him 6 months, and I think that's what I was gonna say is like social media got has even with concept art, like the stuff people see for like animated movies, and you know, that's my only gripe with AI because I think it's reinforcing that easy button mentality when it comes
It
to
is.
creativity, and it's not like the people who are good at what they do. That takes time, you know what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
it's just hard to
Yeah.
explain that to people. And I don't think they do it maliciously, but it's like, just with, again, the pacing, everything is so instant. People think it takes time. Like
Right.
you write books and novels. Like I am not gonna come up to you and say, "Hey, Carlos, can you write me a book in 2 days?"
Right, right. Yeah,
Yeah,
it doesn't
yeah,
happen.
yeah.
Okay, so dang, I can't believe we're almost at an hour. Okay, so I'll wrap this up quick, but I do have a
Okay.
couple other questions. So um with your piece that you've had for 12 years and you said you learned what you needed to learn from it, do
Mm-hmm.
you feel like up to what you've done now, you're no longer inspired by it? Is that what you're saying, or no? Is it something different?
You know what? That's a good question. I think I'm in a different place in my life, and that's why I can't finish it.
Okay,
But maybe I'll go back and finish it because it doesn't resonate with me anymore.
got you.
But I learned from it, and so that's another thing. There was one year I did probably about close to 40 paintings in one year.
Goodness.
You're not supposed to do that, by the way. I learned from another artist, uh, older one, that I was like had a death wish, I guess,
Yeah.
because
Okay. So you correct me
it's
if I'm wrong, because
yeah.
I mean, you're in that space, so you would know this better
Mhm.
than me. I didn't know until recently. They were saying that that's kind of what led to Basquiat's death. Was, and
Because I
I
wouldn't.
don't know where I heard that from, but they were saying basically he was putting out so much like back to back to back to back, and basically it kind of just like turned him crazy almost.
Because you gotta think about it. You just like that's the thing people don't understand either. When I paint, it's not glamorous. I mean, I put some music on, but if
Mhm.
people like, hey, I want to come watch you paint, you're gonna be bored unless
Right,
unless
right.
you're doing
That you're
something
just
too. It's like
really into,
yeah,
right.
you're gonna be bored. Like
Mhm.
but I mean, I put some music on, but I think that makes sense because when you are in that zone or in that element, it's like it makes sense because when I did that, I was probably sleeping maybe like 3 hours a night. Um,
Oof.
sometimes you don't eat or like you'll get to doing something and then it's like 4 hours go by and it's like, man, I forgot to eat. Now I need to go to bed. And so just yeah, like that actually makes sense that you do that or that, that happened. I see how I could. But that's something I'm learning too as an artist. Again, you have to be cognizant of too, because you need to rest. And a lot of times it's easier to be creative at nighttime, at least for me, than it is like
Mhm.
earlier in the morning. So it's like I like staying up at night. But now I've just gotten to the point to where it's like I may go 12 a.m. latest I'll go.
Mhm.
It's a
And then get some
But if it's a
sleep.
weekend, maybe 1:32. But
Yeah.
now I know it's like, no, I'm gonna go to bed. And that also influences or is a reason I use oil paints because I can focus on an area and I can spend 3 or 4 hours working on that specific
Uh,
area. And then, I'm gonna come back to it in a couple of days with a new set of eyes. Or I'm gonna come back to it with a different approach. I'm gonna get it wrong. Oil forces you to slow down because if you get something wrong, you have to wait for the paint to dry and then go back over it to keep it from being all muddy. So
oh, huh. See, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Oh, we had a couple comments. So for those who are listening, uh, Keith said a moment ago when Des was mentioning the series that he's thinking about working on. He said, "Love that, Des," and then Tyler said, "Wow." So yeah, my mind is just blown. Okay, so last question before we get into the game that I play with everybody, Dead in the Water. So I'm curious. I'm really curious to know your thoughts on this. And I had to take a deep breath because I feel like it's something that I've heard a lot, and I'm sure you, as a creative, you've possibly heard a lot too. Do you get offended when people refer to your art as your side hustle? And if so, why? Or
You
if
want me to
not,
get
why? Yeah, you give me the real
you want me
answer.
to give you the Virgo answer?
Yeah, give me. Yeah, yeah.
I just smile at them and laugh. Like, okay, bet. You
Right.
still doing your little art thing? I sure am.
Oh, now that's something that burns me up. I can't stand when people and let me say this.
For
I
me,
think
that's
some
one of
people,
those bless your heart moments.
yeah, it is. It is. And I think sometimes people say it and they don't realize what they're saying when they do that. But a lot of times I think people do.
Yeah.
And so my mindset is nothing I'm doing is little, and any of my friends, invite anybody, like even if you're not my friend, like if you're doing something and you're serious about it and you're passionate about it, it's not little.
Yeah.
But
No,
yeah,
and I agree. So it's like that's why I don't get offended by it because, I think the way I look at it is if it was about other people, then I would get offended, right? I would get
mm,
upset
mhm,
because it's like you're another person and you coming to me like that. This is something I would do regardless if you knew about it or you didn't know about it. And the crazy part about it is
right, right.
the only reason I got to the point, because I started back painting seriously like in 2011. And the only reason I got to the point to where I was opening to doing or participating in my first art exhibition was a conversation I had with one of my professors when I was in one of my graduate school professors. And he basically told me, he was like, you know, he was like, you were strange because he was like, you're sitting at home and you're painting and you're keeping the stuff at home and you don't want to show anybody because you don't think it's good. But he was like, the people that are horrible are always the most confident. And I was like,
That is,
it, and
yeah,
so he
that's
was like,
true.
what do you have to lose? I mean, you gonna do it anyway. And that's what I took from it. Is like, so I guess when people approach you like that, it's just like only reason that's another thing that kind of burns me up too when people do like, oh, nobody shows up to support this or support that, or people only want to, man, I don't care. Like when I do art shows or whatever, I would say I'm horrible about telling people because I get so locked in on trying to get ready for it or trying to prepare
Mhm.
for it or whatever. Um, but to me, like I've never been one of those people that gets hung up on how many people came to support or how many people were there, or who was there and who wasn't there, because I know regardless if anybody's there, this is something I'm going to do. Like,
Right. Yeah.
so
Because
is
that's
you,
something you're passionate about.
yeah, it's like you can be there, you cannot be there, but just like flip side of it, I've had this happen where it's like people come at you that way and then you on TV and you on TV in front of them right after they say that and they're like,
Like, oh, egg
yeah,
on face.
yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's not something I like really take. Like some of those things have been just kind of it's just blessing. I've been blessed, with the opportunity to have those things happen or whatever. But again, it's just like I'm gonna do it either way. And in those situations, it's not really about me because at the end of the day, what I think is if I keep painting, you know, I may be in some obscure little place with some of my artwork, and one person who was having a horrible day may come up and have a conversation with me. And then after that, they leave, and the thing that they've had on the shelf for like 10 years, they finally take it off, and just
Mm,
it's being a catalyst.
right.
And so to me, it's like, yeah, people will come at you like that. They still do, but it's like, okay, I mean, I'm still gonna do it.
Right. Whether you come through or not, right?
Yeah, even if you don't like it. And some of that, I think my skin got kind of thick because my mom, people, oh, like you can get worried about people criticizing your art. My toughest critic was my mom. I could spend
Really?
hours doing, yes. If she was not an artist, she could look at something and pick it apart. She'd be like, you rushed that part, you didn't want to do this part. Or it was some stuff I did, I thought it came out good, but she look at it, she like, you didn't want to do it.
Wow. And she could just know,
She just
just
tells, she's like, you didn't
looking
want
at
to do it. And I'm like, how did you know? And she would be right too. Because
uh,
it's sometimes, I mean, you can have the technical skill, but I think as an artist or creative period, you can tell when it's a different type of energy when you have a connection to something.
mhm.
That's why I got this painting that's not done. It's just like I know it, even if I finish it, I can finish it technically, but it's like it's not going. The emotion is not there.
Right.
So
Wow. Man.
yeah,
That's what's up.
but
Okay. Okay. Well, wow, like I said, this hour just flew by. Okay, so the last segment is this
yeah.
game's called Dead in the Water. So if y'all have watched the show, you pretty much know how it goes. But it's basically five rapid fire questions, this or that themed. And instead of telling me the thing that you like the most, you'll actually tell me the one that you would throw back in the water,
Okay,
or the one that you like the least, pretty much.
okay.
And so they're all different. I try not to repeat questions.
Oh, your audio cut out.
Oh, can you still hear me? Or no?
Now I can.
No.
Now I can.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So this is the first one.
Okay.
So I know you've done commercials before, which people may not know. And of course, you do a lot of public speaking. So of the two, which one would you get rid of? Making commercials or public speaking?
Commercials.
Okay.
It's dead in the water. Yeah.
Okay. Get rid of that one. All right. Taco soup or chili? Which one are you getting rid of?
Chili.
Yeah. Okay. Now, what's funny about this, I don't know if you know this or you remember this. You were the first person to introduce me to taco soup. And
Yeah.
I remember I was at your apartment one day and you said you had cooked some, and I think you asked me if I wanted to taste it. And in my head, I was like, what is tacos? I had never heard of tacos, but I love tacos. So I was like, hey, I'm with it. Cause hey, tacos, taco soup with it, And I mean, now I don't eat as much meat because of gout or whatever. But
Yeah.
prior to that point, let me tell you, I was making taco soup at least once a month.
Because hey, it's one of them. It's like beans and weenies, man. Like
Yeah, it is.
you make a big pot of it.
That's all you need.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if y'all don't know, Google it. Taco soup is hidden. All right. So between these two artists,
You wrong. You about to have people mad at me.
Big Crit or Killer Mike, who are you getting rid of?
Killer Mike, and I'm gonna stand on that.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know what? I shouldn't be too surprised by that because I know you're a really big Crit fan. I like them both. I don't know which one. Okay, so
I'll put it to you this way: if you had to choose one of them to narrate your documentary or do the soundtrack for the documentary to your life, I'm choosing Big Crit.
Okay, I got you. Yeah. Okay, now if you put it that way, I would say Big Crit too, or throw Killer Mike away. Okay. So this is kind of a two-part question. Andre 3000 or Erykah Badu. So for those that are watching this and
Oh
listening,
my God.
I'm not just asking this question from a music perspective. Des has painted portraits of both of these people. So which one would you get rid of if you had to?
Oh, you wrong. You wrong. I got it.
The key said beanies and wings.
Yes, sir. The classic.
Yes.
It's tough. I'm gonna say Andre.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna say Andre. Only reason, Erica from Dallas, and I'm from Texas.
Gotta go to the hometown. Okay,
I gotta go with the hometown. But that's tough.
Okay. Hey, bye. 3 stacks. We sorry.
Yeah. Still love them though.
Yeah. It's dope. And Tylen said that's cold, Lowe's. Hey, I just
it is. That's hard. That's hard, man. Andre got painted because of a debate I was having with some of our friends about him and Kendrick Lamar. So
really, I never knew that was the inspiration behind it.
They made me mad.
Wait, what were they saying? They were saying like who's better, or
I'm gonna keep my thoughts and opinions to myself.
okay.
You gonna have people flaming.
Hey,
yeah, I'm already mad because that's a tough one though. All of them are good. It's tough when you gotta choose one.
Yeah, it is.
But I'm rocking with Texas, so Erica, we're gonna keep up.
Okay, keeping her.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So as it comes to a Virgoing, solid decisions, or go with the flow.
Go with the flow.
Getting rid of that one.
Yeah, I don't do that.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I figured that was gonna be the one that you.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Well, hey, I thank you for coming on this. This has been great. I really appreciate it. If y'all are still watching, listening, season finale next week. But I'm doing something I've never done on the show before. With none of the promos or even when the show starts, I'm not telling you what this person's zodiac sign is. So I want y'all to watch and guess as I'm talking to the person. And of course, I'll reveal it towards the end of the show, but I won't say what his sign is until close to the end. So y'all make sure y'all check that out. But anything you want to leave the viewers and the listeners with, anything else about you want to let people know? You got any upcoming events or anything like that you want to let people know about?
Right now, just painting. So, what I'm going to try to start doing consistently is painting on Instagram, on Tuesdays and Thursday nights and sometime on the weekend. So just over the next year, I'll be more active with kind of the process, right? So how do you create a body of work? What goes into it, not just the final pieces, So, but yeah, just doing that. And then thank you for inviting me on.
Oh, of course.
It's fun,
Thank you for doing it.
Yeah. I know we're earth signs, so hopefully I wasn't too boring.
No, you wasn't boring at all. No, it was great. It was definitely a good conversation. Yeah, not at all.
Yeah.
And appreciate it, Keith. He says another great show, Lois. Love y'all boys. Yeah, love you too, bro.
Yeah.
Thanks for checking it out.
The Aquarius Fellowship.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. All right.
Well, cool. All right. Well, nothing else. Again, thanks again for being on the show, Des, and thank you for everyone who watched and tuned in. And I'll see y'all next week for the finale.
All right.
All right. Peace.